Hey guys, what's up? I'm taking a break from watching the impeachment proceedings and obsessively reading impeachment coverage to make this short video for you guys. I hope you've been well. I know the quarter and semester are winding down and it's approaching finals time, which is definitely not an easy time in the year. I've definitely been there and I wish you guys all the best of luck if you're currently going through that. What I'm here to talk to you about today is a topic that comes up very frequently in my comment section. A lot of you are curious about what major you should pick or what major is going to be best to get into law school or do well in law school. But before we get started talking about that, here are some disclaimers. I have not worked in law school admissions before, so obviously I don't know exactly what stance law school admissions takes on this, and of course every school is going to be very different. What I'm saying is based off of my own experience and the observations that I can make based on, what people in my class have studied and what seems to be working out for them. And lastly, of course, my experience here at Stanford is pretty specific to this school, which has a very small class size relative to other law schools. And if you're interested in a different school, your experience may vary. So take it all with a grain of salt. So to start out with a little background on me, I studied English, literature, and East Asian studies in college at the University of Chicago, and then I did a master's in English literature at University of Virginia. I didn't pick that major or that graduate degree with the intention of going to law school. In fact, as I've talked about in other videos, my decision to go to law school was fairly last minute and kind of based on where I got in and what I felt like the fit would be. Instead, I studied English because I loved it and I genuinely loved the skills that I learned there, which primarily were reading text critically and synthesizing a lot of different texts, sort of pulling them together through analysis, and writing effectively, meaning making arguments based on observations of what is going on in a certain text. Now, that's a skill that really translates well, I think, to a legal education and legal practice, because that's essentially what you're doing as a litigator, reading a bunch of cases, drawing them together, extracting the argument from the cases, and then refashioning it into an argument that is usable for you. So in that sense, everything kind of aligned well. English was a great basis for coming to law school and handling all of the reading that we're doing, all of the writing that we're expected to produce. And I think, although of course I don't know because I haven't started practicing law, I think all of that is also going to translate well to the practice of law itself. Based on what I see in my class and the classes below me, there is no one perfect major or best major for law school. It seems like more people than not major in something that's a little bit more traditionally humanities focused. So there are quite a few English majors, history majors, political science majors, international relations majors in law school. But there are also quite a few people who studied something that you might think seems a little bit left field for becoming a lawyer, and that includes, biology, engineering, physics, people who are pre-med, all of that stuff as well. There really is no one particular path to law school, and in fact, it seems to me that in your law school application, the specific content of what you studied in your college major is less important than what you're planning to do with the skills, the transferable skills that you learned in that major, if that makes sense. Every industry is going to need some contact with law and lawyers. And so every major, every background has something to contribute to the practice of law as well. And you can certainly do super well, get into a great law school, and do really, really meaningful legal work with any kind of background, essentially. So again, there's no one particular major that is best for law school. I would also personally caution people against choosing their major solely for the purpose of getting into law school. One, because it doesn't really give you much benefit. It's not like you're going to be picking something that definitely gives you a huge edge over someone else. It's more about your intellectual curiosity and your ability to use the skills you pick up. So choosing a major that really resonates with you, that is something that you love to do anyway, would be more effective, I think, in the long run. Life is unpredictable, and even though you may feel at the beginning of college that law school is definitely for you and that, you really want to aim every part of your life toward that goal, you may find after working for a year or, when it comes time to apply to law school, or even after you've graduated law school, that law is simply not for you. There are a decent number, in fact quite a few graduates from top law schools even, who after practicing law for a few years decide it's not for them and they go into another field. And in those instances, the skills that they learn in their college majors can provide a sort of alternative basis, even though I think most people would consider the law degree never to be wasted. I mean, it always is like a helpful credential as well. Yeah, that's basically my quick spiel about picking college majors. Again, so there isn't any one particular major that, will really help you get a leg up above everyone else in your application. I think it's more important to pick something that you're genuinely interested in and intellectually curious about. And then as secondary consideration, maybe something that will allow you to develop good critical thinking and writing skills. And then as a tertiary consideration, maybe something that you could do decently well in. So if you're planning to go to law school, it doesn't make sense to pick necessarily a hard major just for the sake of it, because law schools do care about your GPA, but that's like the last consideration out of that list. And in addition, I don't think it necessarily makes sense to be picking your career at that early stage solely with law school in mind. I hope that can kind of allay a little bit of the anxiety around that. I know it's really hard to try to project yourself into the future by like 3, 4, 5 years and make decisions today that you think will affect the rest of your life down the road. That can be very anxiety inducing. And the point of this video is to say that there is no one correct path, and that you can, as long as you are putting thought into your decision-making process, there is basically always a way to use it to your advantage down the road. If you guys have any further questions about this topic, please let me know and I can try to answer them. Although again, it is very specific to, your interests, your school, and your particular situation. I do have a couple of videos planned. It's been hectic for me as well this quarter, so I'm hoping to make a couple of them over winter break. But if you guys have topics or particular questions that you'd like to see me address, please let me know in the comments below as always. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!